My name is Casey. I've been a therapist for 12 years, a dad for 8, and a husband for 10. And I decided to do this channel because I saw a lot of what was going on in our culture, and I wanted to try to bring the truth along with a promotion of what it looks like to be a good man, a good father in a society that is putting us to the side. Let's get into it. The first reason I started this channel was in order to promote a future of fatherhood in America. I've been working with men who are recovering from addiction. I've been working with men who are trying to get their mental health right. I've been working with men for the last forever since I've been in the helping professions. And they have been pushed to the side by a society that tells them that they are no longer useful, and they're often pushed out of the lives of their kids. But the outcomes are clear. When dads are in the lives of their kids, they are less likely to go to jail. They're more likely to graduate college. They're less likely to become pregnant before they become an adult. They're more likely to graduate high school. All of the measurables are improved when there is an active father in their lives. So that's the first and foremost reason why I started this channel, was to give those men a chance who might come behind me and need access to their kids, but aren't allowed to get it because they're told that they are unworthy. The second reason why I started this channel was to try to promote a Christian worldview, which I believe is the paramount way that a person can thrive, and especially a man. Now, Christianity has been overly feminized, and that is because the post-war consensus said that we needed to blunt and mute any passions that are related to a certain in-group bias or certain worldview, and Christianity became muted. But in my reading of the Old Testament, I'm not a biblical scholar, but I've been studying it since I became a believer 18, 19 years ago. In my reading of the Old Testament, it seems as if the God of the Bible is strong and he compels men to be strong. And I believe that as I interact with the clients and the world in such a fashion that I see the brokenness that's out there, that Christianity holds something that has compelled thriving for millennia, multiple millennia. And so that is the second reason why I started this channel, was to try to promote the truth that Christ died for us and that we can live an abundant life because of his sacrifice. The third reason I started this channel was because of the political winds that I saw blowing on the earth at the time, especially in America. Now, the big old Vidian Wu flu had started happening, and we started to see our personal liberties being taken away, including the government telling us that we needed to go get injected with an experimental medication in order to live our lives outside of our household. It was at that time that I moved my family to the country. Welcome to our kitchen. It is at that time that we started to have chickens. It's at that time that we started to try to deliver a microcosm, a functional way that we could provide for our own food, that we could provide everything that our kids might need if the grocery stores are inaccessible again. It's already happened, right? Or if they tell us not to go to church again because of a virus, that we would be able to have as much as we needed down here. Now, I also am not just a voter. I'm a concerned citizen, but I also will go on the campaign trail with candidates in my Midwest state of Ohio. I do actively communicate with my legislators to try to give them information about what's going on in my industry and some of the corruption that I've seen over the course of the last decade in the therapeutic industry. And I actively work with these politicians. We've been invited as a seat filler to certain events, because when somebody gets up who's an actual large scale donor, they get their seat filled, and that's when we get to fill in. I actually have met many of these men and women that are part of the conservative worldview here in Ohio, and I do respect many of them. I also do not give them more reverence than they deserve, which is that I will criticize both sides when it's necessary, and I'm very grateful that the polity appears to be shifting in a direction toward truth and common sense. And so the third reason why I started this channel is to try to push the ball forward toward a conservative worldview and represent what I believe will be the best future for my kids through the society they live in. The fourth and last reason why I started this channel was to try to bring the truth about what the therapeutic industry gets right, what they get wrong, and how they are actually hurting a vast swath of the people that they're attempting to help. I'm currently in my master's degree, headed toward a doctorate in social psychology with a research tilt, and I've been actually a social worker of all things, along with a chemical dependency counselor for the last more than a decade. And I've seen rife corruption, rife exploitation, companies coming in and just putting people in treatment farms where they can't leave. And if they do leave, they don't get medication, they don't get housing, the implicit threat that they'll be no longer they'll go homeless because they won't be able to stand for 7 hours worth of treatment a day. I've seen all this. And I have tried to communicate in this channel and to as many podcasters, as many journalists, and as many politicians as I could, the exploitation that I actively see going on in my industry. And if we're going to regain institutional credibility, it will be because we go back to the founding philosophies that this all derived from, which in part I disagree with, but Stoicism, Taoist mindset for micro meditations. Thought monitoring comes from Stoicism, micro-meditations from Taoist and Buddhist philosophy, and the Enlightenment ideal is that we have radical individual liberty and that we are completely agentic in control of our thoughts. And so my institution could regain credibility, but it has to regain common sense. And so that was the last reason why I started this channel. I've gotten to over 1,250 subscribers, and that number is just ludicrous to me. I'm ever so grateful for every one of you. And if you could, or if you would, please hit the bell so that you get notified when I make videos, because only about 3% of you watch at this time. But I am ever so grateful for the support I've gotten, whether it's the fans of Brett Cooper's page, Peter Boghossian's page, many others have come in droves in order to try to see what there is to say about these 4 important points, which are fatherhood, God, psychology, and polity. And I am ever so grateful for every one of you. Thank you. And if this could be of any value to you, please like and subscribe, and God bless.